think so.
Yeah, so, no jokes about refreshments now. We're on the record.
We are on the record. So.
It is recorded.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. This is Councilmember J. Rose Pepe. This is a meeting of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee on Tuesday, October 1st at 12:30. Present in the room, besides myself, I'll go around.
Matt Murphy from the Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce.
Keith Washness, St. Scarcog.
Jack Edwards with the Days in Port Orchard.
Shannon Park with the Comfort Inn.
Brandy Renierson, City Clerk, City Staff.
So today we have a full-packed agenda listening to presentations about requests for LTAC. Right now we have $100,000 in the biennium budget to allocate for 2020 LTAC, and that's where we're at right now. So today is presentations, and then tomorrow is deliberations. See if we can come to a consensus on how to allocate the funds. Is there any other pieces of information right now that anybody would like to bring up or ask questions about the process?
Just briefly, I passed out 2 handouts. One is a Lodging Tax Advisory Committee financial report that was created by our finance director. This just is a recap of, I believe, at the Economic Development Committee, the chair of that committee as well as LTAC requested a fund balance, if you will. So that's what that is. And then because they switched how they account for funding, even though we were only allocated $100,000 for disbursement, if you look at the expenditure portion on the second page of the 3-page handout, it has $118,432 expended. And the reason why is because there was they switched from one reporting system to another, so it's actual. So anything that is reimbursed in January, even though it's for the previous year, was accounted into this report. Eventually they want to do January to December. I think we have some logistics that we need to work out later, but in the meantime, that's where that $19,000 difference is. And then the second piece of paper that was handed out that says the 2018 payment history, that right there will show you some of the carryover that was reimbursed for January. So when you look at your January or December payments, it'll show where that $119,000 came from.
And if I'm correct, also our lodging tax comes in 2 months
Behind
behind.
the collection, correct.
Yeah.
The state collects it, goes to the state, and then I think it goes to the county, and then we get our piece, something like that.
And the only reason I bring this up is if you're looking at the lodging tax revenue graph on page 2, it makes it look like July through October are our highest month, but if you back it up, it really covers the summer months, not the fall and winter months. So just something to keep in mind as we look at what we have and where we're going. Questions or comments?
The only comment was because I thought it was strange that our funds seemed to have dropped when I know that our 2 hotels combined had probably really good years. So it didn't, unless a lot of B&Bs just dropped off. Unless you had a lot of 30-day stays, we're definitely up this year compared to last.
You're talking about for which would be the February, March
Well,
time.
what you would think would be overall.
Yeah.
From our last lodging tax meeting, I've had nothing but stellar months since then. So just interesting observation. I'm not sure.
Yeah, April and May collections definitely are down from the previous months.
Yeah, strange. Because the whole time period, everything's been nothing but a record month.
Mm-hmm.
Months we've never seen before.
So how will this potentially affect the allocation, the allocable amount? I don't know if that's a word. Applicable?
For 2020, nothing, because the treasurer's allocated $100,000.
Yeah, we can't spend what we don't have, but because we have enough in the
Okay.
what we conserve as reserve, not surplus. I think that was one of the reasons that they wanted to go to a reserve fund, is just to take a look at years that may be better, years that may be worse. So, and that was just to bring up to speed. One of the things that we did last year was we had a higher amount in the fund, and the committee recommended to spend some of those reserves, and the council had decided that they wanted to keep it at 100,000 for each of the years in the biennium budget. Brandy went out and did a survey of the various nonprofits, and they said that they would rather have a
More of a consistent number.
consistent, thank you, yeah, figure than up and down every year. So
And that's what you're talking about, the beginning fund balance, right?
yes, beginning fund balance is where we're at. So,
We discussed last year,
yeah.
in length.
So, and does everybody know, I'm sure you said this, but does everybody know they have 15 minutes?
I believe so. I will make sure that's communicated to them when I bring them in.
Okay, because I just like to keep on the schedule. Great.
By that clock, it's time, so I will go grab the first participants with this.
And again, thank you all for participating and being here. It's a huge commitment, but also very worthwhile to nonprofits putting on events.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Lovely day. Great view.
So it's a reminder, this is a recorded public meeting,
yeah.
so it's being recorded,
And then-
and you have 15 minutes from the start to end, so I will...
Including Q&A?
Correct.
Oh, okay, so I was just at Bainbridge Island last night at 7 o'clock and they were at 5 minutes. So I will do my best. Yeah, and they held to that too, 5 minutes. It's, you know, anyway, so I'm Patty Graff Hope, Director of Visit Kids Up. I have my, because you don't have a monitor, right? So I do have a TV ad, so. Anyway, Director of Visit Kids Out Peninsula. I think this is like my 11th meeting here, and I'm so happy to see you, Tran. And this is Christine Stansberry, who is one of our partners, and she's also the member of the Board of Directors of Visit Kids Up, so I want to thank her for joining us. I have had a major family reunion in the last week and lodging tax, and I am sorry to report that I forgot some of the colored copies of my samples. But I do have packets of the visitor guides. There's three of them are missing, which is golf, wineries, and art. But I gave those to Christine at the board meeting we had on Thursday, so she said she would be happy to share those at the POPSA meeting. But, so basically on the lodging tax, you know, I think the thing that's most important is that we believe that funding Visit Kitsap is definitely provides benefit and advantages to the city of Port Orchard, to the hoteliers, to all of the other tourism stakeholders, because we think that we bring something else to the table that may not be being done locally, and that we also support the local activities using funds that we receive from Kitsap County and the other donors, so we can leverage that money, put it all together, and then we can afford to buy television ads, which we're doing on Evening Magazine, that feature City of Paulsville, City of Port Orchard, well, actually, all 4 cities, and some unincorporated communities, but also we buy radio, on KOW, KNKX, but we also do print ads in Seattle Met Magazine, which we believe that's a real important target group for you. We're also using that funding. We got a grant from the Port of Seattle to do video production, a $10,000 grant, matching grant. So we're using $10,000 from the county and other donors. And so we're going to have some really fun video clips, and the port is paying us to do that, to distribute that to 100 travel writers and travel agencies, domestically and internationally. So those are the kinds of activities that we can provide to the city of Port Orchard that it may not otherwise have access to. We also use the lodging tax funds combined from other donors to promote Port Orchard events, because and we do the same thing with Bremerton, we do the same thing with Bainbridge Island. We just think the more events that we have and the more things that we can promote, the more likely we're able to attract visitors for overnight stays. And day visits as well, but because we're using lodging tax dollars, we want to make sure those lodging tax dollars are directly benefiting the hotels in Port Orchard and throughout the region. So the Taste of Port Orchard, the new Saturday night market, the farmers markets, the new Cornhole Classic, those are kinds of events that we can definitely use to attract visitors to come and see what's happening and going on. We also, though, market your area 365 days a year. I think that's the other thing that's really different about Visit Kitsap among a lot of the other lodging tax recipients, who oftentimes are really focused on making their events successful, and we need them to be successful. But we're also providing the city of Port Orchard and the hoteliers with 24/7 marketing programs and services via the VKP website, and a lot of distribution of these materials are distributed through Certified on the Washington State ferries, and about 150 visitor locations, and we expanded that to Eastern Washington and Oregon in some cases. So we're just making sure that people know that the city of Port Orchard is part of the destination of the Kitsap Peninsula. And I think that the marketing the Kitsap Peninsula as a region that includes these communities provides more and more opportunities for people to come and spend the night, and helps us to more successfully compete with people like Visit Olympia, Visit Snohomish, and other areas that have $1 and $2 million budgets. We may be up over $500,000 this year, 500,000, but we don't have a tourism promotion area, which is the TPA. So we have to be really smart with our money, and we have to really work hard to make sure that we provide lots of reasons for people to come and spend the night. And Port Orchard, we believe, is just really so important to us, because you have the foot ferry, but also you have just this fabulous scenic shoreline for cyclists, leisure travelers, and your hotel is on the waterfront, and that's a very family-friendly hotel. And Jack, your hotel, you have a lot of rooms, and you're centrally located right on the freeway, so you're great for golfers that want to do all McCormick Woods and everything. So I think that we try to make sure that we're doing a marketing that is going to support lodging establishments. And but so how, just out of curiosity, how are sales? Are they good?
I can't complain.
You can't complain? Well, what the thing that we're trying to determine is, our focus is leisure travelers. We know that a lot of the hotels, especially in Bremerton and Silverdale, still have quite a percentage of, the contractors, government contractors as well. But our mission is to help really attract the leisure travelers, which are flexible and able to spend a lot more money. You don't have to worry about the per diem. So we're really trying to encourage the hotels to make sure they're offering amenities for leisure travelers as well. Open your bar before 4 o'clock is our mantra. Open it at noon, but a lot of them don't. So we do a lot, we spend a lot of the money. I think last year we provided funding, cash funding as well as a paid posts in our social media. We're up to almost 9,500 now. And then also in the ads, which I'm going to leave these with you so you can pass them. So they're pretty in color. You'll see that we include the hotels, but we also run ads where we do events, where we promote all the events. And one of the things is we do, and this is a full page ad we did in Olalla for the Olalla Festival that we paid for, and we sponsored that, and we included the hotels. We don't charge anybody anything. We have no memberships. We don't charge anybody to any businesses, attractions, or anything to be in any of our materials. Everything we do is basically paid for by the county. We use that money that they give us to make sure that folks are featured. Again, we're going to go to Port of Seattle. We have a great partnership with the Port of Seattle International Tourism Office, and tomorrow I'm in Seattle all day because we're taking all our materials, and we're one of 14 agents across Washington State that have been invited by the Port of Seattle to make a presentation about their region at the Museum of History and Industry, MOHI, in downtown Seattle all day. And we make presentations to 40 different international travel agents and tour operators and travel writers about our region and why they should send their clients to visit us. So we're doing that. And then this last thing, this is 4 pages, 1 month, and I'll leave it here again. We get leads from all over the United States and the world, and we mail out this brochure right here, and it costs between $3 and $5, including the brochure, the envelope, postage. Postage is 80 cents domestic. But we get these every month, and we mail these out all over the world, and this is July. And Port Orchard is in this information that we send out. So we're also making sure that people know about Port Orchard all over the world. So, and this is, I'm going to leave this with you because shows that in the last 10 years, tourism sector in Kitsap has increased by 41.6%, or $121 million in generated revenues. And then this is an example of how we're actually spending. This is a recap for the county that I have to provide an example of just people we're paying. I mean, we're actually using our dollars to buy media. So there you have it. Can I answer any questions? Did I go over my time?
What does
You get 3 minutes.
I just want to make sure I'm so.
Yeah, there was a time when you talked about the website and the reach and the ranking. Do you know where you stand these days?
Oh, you know what? That's a good question, Jack. I have to say I didn't look at that. But we're very, very high up there as far as our ranking. I think that it changes, it fluctuates because we're doing so much now. There's so much different media, social media, Facebook, Instagram. Now I'm working on a whole thing called WeChat. Does everybody know about WeChat? Oh my gosh. I'm not going to do, what's the one where your face changes? I'm not doing that. Where it's, I don't know. So there's just a lot of different ways that people access, which is why we're still doing broadcast radio. So we have a little bit of everything to make sure that we're, keeping our, with our budget that we have. So, and I do, so because I may run out of time, but we created a website called visitkitsap.com/LTAC. And so I do I have 3 minutes? Do I have time for a 15-second ad?
Got a minute and a half, I
Oh,
think.
great. Oh,
Is it
thank
15
you.
seconds? Who's that?
Thank you. So let me see. I just want to show you one ad that we have. Okay, LTAC, sorry. So I created this website. It has our colored ads on it.
Where's the ad running?
It runs on Evening Magazine, and then it runs on, and that's running through November. And then we have, most of our buy was during the summer. And even though, just to qualify, even though that it's during the summer, part of the reason we do advertise, even though I know your hotels are full, that's the time when most people are looking for things to do and places to go. So if we just wait until the winter, most people they're not thinking about that, you know? So we do some advertising though to do holiday and things like that, but we need to really be aggressive during the summer season because it's so pretty, right? So when the ads that we're running are about so here's one, okay, so I'll get it going here. And then so I'm gonna do it kind of quick. All right, if I can get my little, all right, so, and then turn my sound up. Shoot. So if you can see it, can anybody see?
Get away to acres of open
Yeah, this
space,
is the one that's been on
miles of
TV.
Yeah,
short
but I
I've
have
seen
4
it.
of them.
and
Yeah.
waterfront
Yeah.
towns filled with places
So
to
there's
eat,
Annapolis.
drink, play outdoors. Located across from downtown Seattle. More at
So it's
visitkitsap.com.
only 15 seconds, but we feel like we're getting it in there. Hello. And there's 4 of them. And then the other thing that's not on here for you is, because we're still putting it together, we spent all summer shooting all kinds of, the cycling, everything. And so we're putting those videos. So you will have also a nice video of your own that's 1 to 2 minutes long that we're producing, that will be on the website, but then that's also going to be one that'll be distributed as part of our Port of Seattle. So those are just the kind of services that we are able to provide to you.
And we're at time.
Great.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I am going to leave this information right here with you, just so that you can have it, because I didn't, let's see, okay, I got it. All right, we're good. All right, are you next?
This is Luella Holstein. She's the president of the Sydney Museum.
Oh,
Very
great,
much
nice to meet you. Yeah, and we do partner with everybody. We love partnering with Port Orchard, so thank you. All right, Missy, are you next?
I'm next.
You are. Well, I just want to say that we really appreciate the partnership with the museums, and so thank you so much.
So as a reminder, this is a public recorded meeting, so you are being recorded, and you have 15 minutes, including questions. So with that, I
As
will
right
leave it
now.
up to whoever's presenting on Sydney.
Sydney Museum in Holland. Yeah, that's this one. Hi, I'm Christine Stansberry of the Sydney Museum and Arts Association. This is Luella Hohenstein, who's our president. This is her going on 3rd year as being president. We are submitting our lodging tax reimbursement request for the same amount that we requested last year. Actually, it's a little bit more than we requested last year. We are requesting it for the website, the sign on the highway, and the advertising that we do. We advertise in a publication called Art Access, which is distributed to concierge and other visitor centers from Vancouver to Vancouver. We advertise in the Country Register, which is distributed in Oregon, Idaho, Washington, and British Columbia. And that's every 2 months. We do a lot of Facebook. We are in the designation Washington, Experience Washington. We do advertising in there. So our advertising is designed to bring people to the Kitsap Peninsula and to the Sydney Museum and the Art Gallery. We are the Sydney Museum at 202 Sydney. That building is on the National and State Historic Register. It's the only building in Port Orchard that is. So we have a lot of people who come just to see that, and they find it on the National Historic website as well as other historic websites when they're doing their research. And we also have our art gallery, and we bring people in from all over the state and from out of state to come to the various art shows. We have several open art shows every year that numerous people participate in. We probably have on average about 10,000 visitors a year. And of those that come specifically to the gallery, and of those, probably a quarter of them are deliberately coming from out of state in order to come to our gallery. So we're pretty pleased with that. And then we have the sign on the highway, which is up there to encourage people to come into town. And we made it brown so that people would connect to the historic, because the state doesn't let you do historic anymore. So we have that up there. So that was what our ask is, and why we think that we should continue to be funded by lodging tax money. Questions?
So the total ask is 11,228?
I'm sorry?
The total ask is 11,000?
No, the total budget is 11. The total ask is 64.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I
see now.
didn't
My
pull
bad.
it out.
My bad. I was looking at the last.
Yeah, the last page. No, the total ask is 64.
Okay.
We have 4,700 committed from other funds, so the total budget's 11.
You think you find the yellow pages to be proving anything these days? I thought they didn't exist anymore.
It's more their
I was
online
gonna say their online
service.
presence,
It's
yeah.
more their online presence and the advertising that you can do
Right.
there. But no, I don't find the yellow pages to be at all helpful. But there are still people that go to the hotel or, that look in the yellow pages, so.
And how are you tracking your attendees and paid lodging nights?
The paid lodging nights is totally a calculated
Okay.
number, and what we did was we took the reach that we think we have and divided that in half, because you might be in an advertisement that people could see, but maybe half of them actually see it. And then we said perhaps 5% of them actually come, and maybe a quarter of them are coming from out of state, and 2/3 of those people are paying for overnight. So that's how I got to that number.
Other questions? No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have about 10 minutes before the next presenter gets here.
Who is presenting for the chamber?
Christine.
I was just curious.
Yes, so this will be a chamber/Explore Port
Okay.
Orchard.
I have one more to do. Hi, I'm Christine Stansberry, and I'm here representing Explore Port Orchard. So Explore Port Orchard is housed currently with the Chamber of Commerce. It started as an independent consortium of the various nonprofits in town, the Chamber, the Port, Visit Kitsap, the City Museum, the Port Orchard Bay Street Association, Fathoms of Fun. The idea being that we would try to combine as much as we could our advertising to do better with our advertising dollar, to get us a longer reach with our advertising dollar. And it didn't really work out that way. But what we have found, and where we actually add value, is we do generic advertising for come to Port Orchard, come explore Port Orchard, come to South Kitsap, spend the day, spend the night. There's a lot of things to see, and the really great thing about Explore Port Orchard is that you don't have to be a member of anything in order to have us advertise your event or your venue or whatever it is. You don't have to belong to the Chamber, you don't have to belong to the Bay Street Association. If you're in what we consider our area and you have something to promote, we promote it. It doesn't cost anything, but it brings people to town. So we have a separate website, we do a Facebook page. All of the consortium members contribute to that and help with posting things on Facebook and searching for things to make sure that we're getting all of the events that are happening. And so our specific ask for this year is $12,500, and it will go towards advertising and sound publishing, which has developed some really interesting programs in the last couple of years. And you buy a block of advertising and you use a point system, and you basically get a much larger reach. And they have little papers all over, up on the peninsula, along the coast, in Federal Way, on the east side. And so that's really our target audience of bringing people to town for an event or a day or cycling or whatever it is that people are going to do. And they also are doing something called geofencing, which is really targeted digital advertising, so that if you go to an event and you come within this fence, it serves you out an ad on your phone about whatever our event is. So we're testing that out a little bit this year, and it seems to have a pretty good response rate. The other thing that we are doing, we tried the certified racks on the ferry system and found them to be not very effective for us. We've left the certified ad at the airport, so we have brochures at the airport, but we have stopped using the ferry. But we did direct marketing. We did a direct mailing last year, this year, where we mailed out the chamber directory and the brochures and the walking maps and all the information we had to a variety of other chambers and marinas, and asked them to put it out in their offices. And then we think that is a more effective way to get our information out. And then we also are doing print advertising, Discover Kitsap Peninsula, the brochure, because that goes on the ferry, and that's got a pretty good reach. We also are a member of the Washington Tourism Alliance and the Washington Festival and Events Association, which lets our consortium members advertise at the membership rate on the Washington Tourism website for events, and also with the Washington Festival and Events Association. And then we have, like I said before, we have our website, which we are maintaining, and also Facebook, where we're boosting various events on Facebook. And so the ask is $12,500. The $2,700 that you see in other committed funds is the in-kind from the chamber for staff time, because of the amount of time that they put into doing the mailing, doing the Facebook, keeping the website up to date. And that is my presentation.
Questions, comments?
When you're doing the advertising in sound, so when you're talking about your targeting, and you're really targeting outside there, so you're asking them to make that they're not placing any ads that go to Kitsap County. You're trying to go outside of their
We
county?
place ads that do go to Kitsap County, so we place the ads in the Port Orchard Independent, Central Kitsap, North Kitsap, and Bainbridge Island, but we also go to Sequim, Port Angeles, out along the peninsula, Ocean Shores, Grays County.
So when you're doing the local ones, you are just trying to get locals attracted as well as outside visitors.
I'm targeting outside visitors, but we're putting it where locals will see it as well. We don't, if it's specifically local, and Explore Port Orchard doesn't do that, because the Explore Port Orchard ads are generic, more generic. It's not like the POPSA event or the Sydney doing an art show. It's much more generic, come explore for the day sort of advertising. And that doesn't do us a lot of good with the locals. It's more designed for people who are in town and looking for things and see it on the website. So if you're looking at Port Orchard, the Port Orchard Independent comes up if you're Googling Port Orchard, and you can see their online paper, and so we're in there.
And is this supposed to be like a smaller version of a Visit Kitsap in a way? Just more concentrated
It's
on Port
more,
Orchard?
it's focused on this area where Visit Kitsap does the whole peninsula.
Right.
And we are focused on our area. Because there aren't any hotels in the county down here so the county, we're sort of an orphan down here for the counties, from the county's perspective. Because
Right, well, yeah,
there aren't any, none of the lodging tax money's coming.
Yeah, no, it comes from here.
Yeah, it
Right.
comes from Port Orchard.
And how long has the website been around? Because I know of it, but I'm not that familiar. Just so we can gauge any kind of analytics you may have, like how many hits, how many visits.
We have been around, this is the 6th year, isn't it?
Okay.
Or 7th year. And I didn't look at the analytics this time.
Okay. And I take it the hotels are featured on there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The hotels are there. The bed and breakfasts are there. The chamber's done a great job of finding all of the parks are all on there. There's itineraries, so it's a nicely put together website.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Does she come right back in again for another?
No.
3:15 she'll be here.
She's done.
Just for now.
Let me put on my other hat. No, right.
So we're about, 15 minutes ahead of schedule. We can go ahead and continue with the chamber if the chamber is ready to present their 2 items. And then we can have a break if we'd like, or continue forward, but, or if you want to break now. What's
And
your
a break then.
preference? Yeah, exactly.
Are we going forward?
If somebody's here, I'd say, let's go forward and then take our break.
And Matt, is it just you presenting? There's nobody out
Just
there
me.
waiting?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're turning the hat now.
I'm turning the hat now.
Well, your 15 minutes has now started.
Well, I learned my lesson last year, and actually I learned a lesson at the port. The port gives you 3 minutes
Okay.
to say your whole spiel.
We're generous.
Yeah, but they're
I know.
not really.
Huh?
It's not like a formal request like this is.
No, we had to submit formal
Well,
requests.
you did, but yeah, when you
Yeah.
talk, but not every organization was there to speak.
No, so I got like 3 minutes at the port. And I tried to do the same thing as I did there, as I did here last year with a lot of the history in the background. Because I thought that the history in the background is important to demonstrate where we're currently spending the money, And so, knowing that nobody cares where we spent the money, the only thing people care about is where we're going to spend it this year, which is, I think, the reason why so many of the other presentations are short also. So I'll go ahead and start out with the Tour Information Visitor Center request. Is that the first one on the list?
The chamber events are first.
Okay.
But you can,
Yeah.
whatever order you'd like to
Yeah.
go, you have a block of time.
So, so the Chamber of Commerce, currently we operate, I guess you would call it a modified visitor center because we are not right on the main drag. So people don't just randomly wander into our office, but it's amazing, we get a ton of people that do somehow or another find us, and they battle our parking lot, and they stop and they come in and they fill up their arms full of the different brochures and stuff that we have. So in addition to just the physical visitor information center that we have, because we have 3 racks of brochures just for visitors. We also maintain portorchard.com, which is the chamber website, but it's the As you can imagine, PortOrchard.com gets a lot of activity for Port Orchard in general. And we link from the PortOrchard.com site to the Explore Port Orchard website. Well, we also have, specifically lodging and getaway places, which at this point is pretty slim, considering that we don't have very many lodging and getaway places to stay. But it is one that, when people do come into town, we make recommendations depending on how they get here. It's like we've got two great opportunities, It's not like we can single anybody out in particular. We give them options. Both of the hotels in town, and I know that I've talked with Jack about it, have certain things going for them. It could be location, as far as right off the highway, or location to the ferries or the waterfront. So we push both of those. In addition to that, we get a ton of requests. Not as many as Visit Kids App with her 4 pages of requests, but we are getting requests from people that are coming to visit, and it's amazing how many people still depend upon the good old-fashioned printed word. You would think that everything is online now, and while it is, a lot of people don't like going that direction. That's why the Yellow Pages is still applicable to some people, Do you guys still have them in your rooms? You guys don't even carry them in your rooms anymore? That's funny.
Just a Bible.
Huh? Yeah. So, so it's the costs associated with, answering the telephones. And so what we've done, and it's after years of working with the clerk's office and the finance department and figuring out the best way to, itemize a nickel and dime, because we were going to okay, this month our internet bill is $87, and we typically would charge 20% of that to the LTAC, and we came up with I think it's basically 8% of our administrative costs is what we pass on to the chamber for rent, for the staff time to fulfill at the telephone, the managing the website, the hosting, and all those things like that. That comes out to about $10,000 a year. And we submit that. So now what we do is we submit quarterly to the city for basically 8% of our quarterly administrative costs. And that's where the $8,000 of the $10,000 comes from. It runs anywhere from $2,200 to $2,500 a month. And we only ask for what the actual costs are. So it's not just give us $2,500 a month or a quarter, no matter what. We don't do advertising. That's one of the ones that Explore Port Orchard does, and like Visit Kids Up. So Jack, to your point, Explore Port Orchard is kind of like a Visit Kids Up. It is, and one of the ways that it is the fact that you don't have to be a member in order to take advantage of the Explore Port Orchard. That's one of the coolest things I think with the Visit Kids App, is because if they were to limit themselves, and if they were to go out and be searching for memberships also, it would be hurting everybody else. So the fact that they represent and Explore Port Orchard and the Chamber, we represent the businesses, not just our members when it comes to tourism in Port Orchard. So that's basically what we're asking for, is a portion of the operational expenses for the Chamber offices that we dedicate to tourism and activities.
Matt, have you guys looked at moving your office? I thought at one time you had taken a look at that.
We have definitely taken a look at that. In fact, yesterday we had our strategic planning session. We spent all day upstairs in the Whiskey Gulch looking out the water. And the relocation of our offices, it's been moved up on our 3-year plan. The problem is obviously finding the right location. So we have 3 problems: finding the right location, finding one that fits in our budget, and getting a board to move fast enough to take advantage of the right location at the right price.
At the right time.
Yeah, because we're torn between downtown Port Orchard and moving to a location, because Port Orchard is a lot bigger, as the city council knows, is a lot bigger than the 2 blocks that make up downtown Port Orchard. you know, so, you know, conceivably moving to a different location on, you know, say Bethel or, you know, someplace like that where more people come by, is one of the things that.
And then that's tough, because most of your visitors are gonna come down to the Bay Street,
Mhm.
check the waterfront.
Yeah, you know, but the kicker is that most of the visitors are gonna drive to Bay Street. You know, so if they take the first exit off the highway, they're gonna exit at Sedgwick, and then they're gonna drive down Bethel, you know? So, you know, and then, you know, with a location change, depending upon where a location change, it may change our entire focus on the whole tourism side of things, you know? We may just refer all the visitor information calls to the city and let the clerk's office.
That happened the year that.
Forward your phone.
That happened the year that Bremerton did not fund Visit Kitsap at all, and that's what she did.
Mhm.
All the cities.
Yes.
So statistically, then,
Mhm.
of the three, and there may be more,
Mhm.
but foot traffic, phone traffic, and internet hits,
Mhm.
do you track those?
Yes and no. As laborious, I mean, we've tried and we've restarted the telephone tracking part. We can track the internet
Okay.
part. I mean, that's simple. But, you know, after a while, when the phone just starts ringing, we forget to record.
Yeah.
You know, that was a visitor call. This was a member call. This was a relocation call. It was a Saints call.
No, I was curious about,
Yeah.
you know, if there was any trending on one over the other, or whether, you know, things are, static, or whether we've seen, you know, more hits. It's curiosity.
Yeah, you know, the out of the area hits hasn't declined. You know, so I guess you could say it's steady.
Mhm.
You know, if it represents, you know, 35% of our traffic, it still represents 35% of our traffic. Our traffic goes up, but the walk-ins, there's still a whole lot of those. Like, we had somebody from Paris, not Paris, excuse me, they're the south of France, came in the other day, and you know, so it was fun visiting with them. But they, their biggest thing was signage, landmarks. They couldn't find. They drive by things everywhere they went. You know, tried to send them down to Landon Gardens, and they were like, I was like, you gotta watch, because if you don't pay attention, that sign comes and goes, and the next thing you know, you're in Paulsboro. So, but you know, the traffic state is pretty pretty consistent, and we still get people the old-fashioned. We get a letter from somebody who says, "I'm coming to visit." They'll mail it to us. You know.
We get those too.
Yeah.
Really? Wow, that's weird.
I know. They mail us a letter saying, "We're coming to Port Orchard. Can you send us information?" You know, it's like in today's day and age of telephones, you know, it's cheaper to call and say we're coming to Port Orchard than it is to write a letter and put it in the mail.
So if you had the budgeting to staff a visitor center on the weekends, do you think it would be advantageous? Do you think people would take advantage of that? Or-
If we had the right location.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, and that's where it'd be fun to look at, you know, a kiosk at the public market or something like that, and staff.
Right,
You know.
like something, an intern or.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, and it would be like a concierge type thing.
Mhm,
And people
exactly.
come in and say, you know, where can I eat? Where can I sleep? What is there to see? And, you know, you have the brochures, and it's like, yeah, you know, you can go here and, you know, down around the corner and stuff like that. So, you know, we've got the tablets, and you guys all have the tablets, right? The tear off tablet maps.
I think so.
You don't have them? Well, I'll get you some. Because, I mean, it's the typical ones that you would see in a hotel, where it's like, where can we go? And there's just, whoosh, you know, you can tear it off. And there's one side is downtown, the other side is, you know, the whole South Kitsap area. And that's something that is put together that, you know, Brandy or Michelle's got some downstairs, and I think the library has some. So, can definitely get you guys more of those. And, yeah.
All right, you want to hit the second one,
All right.
events?
Yeah. So, the events, we have, for the last 32-ish years, put on the Seagull Calling Festival. A few years back, they added the Seagull Wings Cook-Off, and that all happens on Memorial Day weekend. It's in conjunction with the Kitsap Harbor Festival, which takes place over on the Bremerton side. For this particular event, we get some marketing money from the port. That was my 3-day presentation that we give back. And that's shared between Bremerton and the Port Orchard. We place ads, we do the geofencing. To, a little bit more about the geofencing. What we did during the geofencing, for example, is we targeted the parade route for the Armed Forces Day Festival. So people that were on their phones during the Armed Forces Day Festival would see ads for the Kitsap Harbor Festival. And people that were at the Rhododendron Festival in Port Townsend would see ads for our festival down here. And because you figure we're targeting festival goers is what we're trying to do, is we're trying to specifically target people that are going to festivals. I mean, you guys could do something like that in car shows. You could find a big car show wherever. They could say, that parking lot right here, we're going to target that parking lot, and we're going to tell everybody in that parking lot going to that car show about the Saints show. So we did that, and that's one of the new things that we did for the Harbor Festival and for the Seagull Calling contest. So my ask this year is for some funds for operational expenses, because we have permits up the yin yang. The city, we got the health department, and then it's also for the new cornhole tournament. Okay, so I'm asking for $3,000 for the two different events. The cornhole tournament this last year was a great success. Last week I went to a conference on the Washington Chamber of Commerce Executives, and I thought we were cutting edge here in Port Orchard with the cornhole tournament. As it turns out, not so much. There's a few other chambers that are already doing them. Edmonds does one, and in fact, it's funny because we did get an email from somebody from Edmonds saying, "Hey, we want to do a preliminary tournament up here." And so, this is the money that we need to grow. This is marketing funds. There's no doubt in my mind that this is an event that will become self-sufficient as time goes by. Next summer, we're going to run it the Saturday before you guys. So it'll be a great opportunity. People are coming into town for the car show. We'll do it on Saturday. The car show's on Sunday. This last year we had about 60 teams participate throughout the whole thing. We had 32 teams in the finals, and so it's something that is only going to go up. It's not terribly expensive to put on. We made a bunch of boards, but the advertising is what really kills us.
So I'm sorry, you said, I thought I heard the week before, you're going to do it the day before.
The day before, yeah, excuse me, the day before.
Okay.
Yeah, the day before, because the week before is almost like the Mustangs, I
I
think.
was wondering how long people were going to stay.
Yeah.
So it's not, is it tied into the Harbor Festival weekend?
Which one, the cornhole?
Yeah, the cornhole.
No.
Oh, so sorry.
No, the cornhole is the same weekend as the Saints.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the format going to be then just a weekend format to try and draw outside people for the?
So the way we did it this last year is we did preliminary tournaments. Okay, and the preliminary tournaments took place. They were designed to take place anywhere in the county. Okay, I think we had 5 preliminary tournaments in Bremerton. The Dugout did one, Dog Days Brewing did one, Wigwam, Silver City. And so the preliminary tournaments are held throughout the summer. So basically beginning in June and up until the finals are held at different places. The Bethel Saloon, they couldn't fit one in, The Bethel Saloon could have a preliminary tournament, and then from the preliminary tournament, they send people to the finals, which happens on the last weekend, or on the finals weekend. We're also going to do this year, we'll do a morning preliminary. Because we had so many people walk up and it's like, I didn't know this was happening. I want to play. And then we were like, sorry, it's too late, you know, we already got the brackets filled. We got 32 teams playing. And these are people that come in, like I said, I thought we were cutting edge. Not so much, because it is huge. And people come from all over to play cornhole. Our goal and my inspiration for it is, the Hoop Fest in Spokane, where they literally closed downtown and they got 3-on-3 basketball hoops courts set up on the streets of downtown Spokane, and it'd be fun to see, okay.
We did that in Silverdale a few years ago.
A Hoop Fest?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It didn't last long. It was actually a good success, but the guy who was running it.
Yeah.
We actually, some of us know, he just kind of let it.
And the thing is that, the infrastructure costs for cornhole is minimal. Everybody can play it. You don't have to be, 7 foot tall and.
I was just wondering how you got the mayor to finish up in second, or was it third?
Well, that was in a preliminary.
Oh, in preliminary.
That was in a
okay.
preliminary tournament. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I heard people talking about driving by the mayor's house and seeing him out there for the week beforehand. He had his own boardies that's out there pitching corn just to try to make it to do better. And then they showed up in their kilts, and so it was fun because a lot of them, it is a tailgating type event.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we had the bars and the pubs sponsored, we had a beer garden. When we did it down at the dock, we did it at Peninsula Bevco, and they actually had the tournament in the parking in the park across the street. In between that, people would go and they'd go drink and they'd wander down the street and they'd come back, and so it did a good job of bringing people in. The people that won this year, they were from up. So the people that won it qualified at Dog Days in Bremerton, and second place qualified at the Farmers Market in Silverdale. So none of our Port Orchard players actually won.
Ringers.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we're looking at next year. Do we need to do a like a hardcore league and a and a
I'd
fun
like
league?
to see it make it so it does force people to stay at night. A Saturday night, make it
Yeah,
a 2-day event.
and that's where.
And then find some of the look it up, research cornhole
Oh, yeah.
in other regions, Jefferson County, Mason County. Hey, who are the best guys, or who's the best bar?
Yeah.
And send a team over and stay.
And if we could get, but it needs to grow to that, because I'd love to see like a Friday night preliminary. Do a Friday night preliminary, have the Saturday finals, and then originally we were looking at maybe doing it Mustangs weekend, because they're not quite as big as you guys are, But it's like if you could carve out a parking lot, during the Saints part, it would be great, because all these guys now, all of a sudden there's a beer garden and a cornhole tournament, down here, and people are wandering and looking at cars and playing cornhole and stuff like that. So, and it could, I would like to see it grow to that. City of Edmonds, or the Edmonds Chamber, made $10,000 last year on their
That's a good
cornhole
one.
tournament. Yeah.
So, any questions you want to ask yourself?
No.
I'm not sure you can.
No.
Yeah.
Any questions on
Anybody
the
else?
events?
No.
How did the Q13 Fox interview go with the Seagull Calling Festival? Was
How did
there-
it go?
Yeah.
It went well. It went well, yeah. Because we just walked to the park across the street from us.
I know they wanted to do a mock drill, so I was just curious to see.
Yeah, we went to the new park there at Rockwell, is that what they call that? The
Mhm.
Rockwell Park?
Pocket Park.
Yeah, and it's the first time that I had been there, and I had no idea that it's a sandy beach there too. So you are so lucky. Yeah, as long as they don't take up your parking, right?
Yeah.
He was lucky. Now he doesn't have Sand Beach anymore.
Yeah. But we went across the street, and the Fathoms gals did their thing, and then they interviewed them, and so yeah, that went really well. So it was fun, and we got press out of the Seagull. We had 5 different newspaper articles written on the cornhole tournament. And, you know, with any luck, like I said, you know, we can pick it up and run with it. And, you know, if it gets too big, then we have a, you know, like the NCAA tournament, you know, so there's 64 teams in that, which means there's 32 matches in the first round. But do like, you know, we could do a match at, you know, we could do a match out at your place, you know, and we could do a match up on top of Mile Hill, and we could, you know, we could do them at different places. Do the first round, because, you know, like in the NCAA, you've got the West and the East and the North and the South, and, you know, they can play the first 8 games out in various locations, and then all come downtown for the final. So.
Did you notice that anyone who was in a loser's bracket, do they stick around and watch other teams? Just
You know, that's a change, yes. So there's two answers to that question. One is that in the finals we had no losers bracket. It was 32 teams. So if we'd ran a double elimination, you know, 32 teams with double elimination, it would have taken a lot longer to play. That was a mistake on our part. So, you know, we may end up doing a double elimination, but maybe.
Did you do a round robin? Is that what you did, or no?
No, the preliminary tournaments that we had at the various locations around town is where people qualified to get there. So they'd already played in that, and that was kind of like that. Those were double eliminations around, and so that qualified them to there. Even people that lost in the first rounds, they stuck around. We had people in the grandstands for the final. So, you know, there was people there. We did it down at the park, so we had the grandstands right there for the final 2 rounds. But that's something, you know, is, you know, doing a double elimination or doing a 3-team, 4-team round robin for seeding purposes, maybe, you know, and you know, it's just to try to drag it out longer.
I'm just curious if once someone's knocked out, if they like to stick around and drink.
They
want to get a dodge.
Stick around.
No, they stuck around and drank. So, yeah, it was in that respect. You know, we would have liked them to stick around longer, because some of them, yeah, you know, because then you drag the whole family down there and you lose in the first round. You're done by 12:30. You know, they're going home. But and it ran from about 12:30 to 4:30. So, you know, in a double elimination, you know, figure double elimination of 64 teams is 100 and some odd rounds. Some people suggested we can do a single elimination, but it's the best 2 out of 3. You know, that still sends people home early, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, are we at a place where would you like to go next, or would you like to take a break?
So the next 2 presenters are here as well.
Yes. Well, so
Let's go.
And so the next one that, so essentially the next person that's going to be here that's not here now, will be at 2:30.
2:30.
So we got about a little under an hour.
Right, so my question is, do we want to continue, or we want to take a short break? I imagine people will come in a little bit earlier on this side, so you want to take about a 15-minute break and then come back? Why don't we come back then at 1:50, 15-minute break, all right? It's 1:50, the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee is back in session, and our next presentation is by the City of Port Orchard.
Yes, so I'm Brandy Reinierson, I'm the city clerk for the City of Port Orchard, and I have been tasked by the Economic Development Committee Chair to present a application regarding foot ferry services during the summer hours, summer days. And so the request this year is for $7,000. The overall operating expense for this particular ask is $19,500. Usually we have a commitment of $7,000 from the City of Bremerton. In the past, we've had commitments from the county as well as the Port of Bremerton. Again, this year they both have declined to partake in the annual meeting to discuss the services. This year, it's just going to be the city of Bremerton and the city of Port Orchard discussing how 2020 looks. I did receive the ridership count for 2019, as well as the expenditures for 2019. And so if you notice, the ask from last year to this year, meaning 2019 to 2020, is about $700 more. And that's because the last couple of years, the ridership count has gone down. However, the hourly rate has continued to increase anywhere from 2 to 3%. This year, the total cost from the city of Port Orchard was $6,600. So we did fall short. We will be using all $6,300 from lodging tax this year, as well as a cost overrun from the administration budget to offset that. Let's see. The ridership count over the last couple of years, like I did mention, does continue to decline. I'm not quite sure why. 2018 and 2019 were the exact same routes, or excuse me, the exact same days and times. We've ran consistent Sunday hours, 9 to 6, for I believe the last 4 years. In 2017, we had some Saturdays. So what I did for my historical numbers, I took out the days that we did not run for 2018 and 2019, so I would have a true comparison for 2017 numbers. So I'd have essentially a 3-year history. And again, for whatever reason, we're declining in the numbers. However, the Blackberry Festival, which is the Sunday, the ridership count literally is just about double, if not more, riders on that particular day than all season. So, for example, in 2019, the total ridership count from Memorial Day to Labor Day is just over 3,000 riders. On September 1st, Blackberry Festival Day, which is that Sunday from 9 to 6, we had 1,591 riders. So again, definitely that day is providing beneficial for the ridership. We actually make money on that day to help offset some of the costs that have very low ridership.
And that's the same day as Taste of Port Orchard.
Oh, no. 'Cause
Taste
I
of
thought
Port
it was
Orchard is
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yes, it is the
I
same
thought
day.
It is the same
I'm
day.
sorry. Yes, it is
So,
the Sunday.
So, but what about, so the date that you gave is a Sunday and Sunday?
Mhm.
Or was that the Labor Day weekend? day?
It's just the Sunday.
It's the Sunday. Okay.
Monday, Kitsap Transit picks up,
Okay.
and then Saturday we don't run. Let's see. The other ridership count that is the highest, which is 166 participants for 2019 that rode the Foot Ferry on August 11th, which was the cruise. Other than that, they're very minor. I apologize. I didn't look earlier in the year. It's the 4th of July. 371 riders for 4th of July. So that's the ridership count. This year, typically we have a link on the Kitsap Transit's website that links the hours of operation. For whatever reason, it did not get put on the Kitsap Transit's website. So when we found out, it was later in the year, and so maybe that was one of the reasons why we had such a declining number ridership this year, is the lack of connection between Kitsap Transit and the city, because a lot of people don't realize that it's a third-party vendor, if you will, from Kitsap Transit that's providing the service. We do push out Facebook ads. We do put ads in the Port Orchard Independent paper, once a month, a couple times a month through Facebook, just getting people to know about the event. So let me think here. So again, along with ridership count being low, that means that the fares collected are being low. In 2017, we collected about a little over $7,000 in cash from the ridership count. It was high. 2018, we only collected a little over 6,000, and then this year, 2019, we only collected a little over 5,000. So with that being said, that is the reason why I'm asking for 7,000 to help offset some of the costs from the lack of ridership, which means the lack of fares collected. So as a reminder, Kitsap Harbor Tours charges us an hourly rate to run the service. Any cash collected, which is the $2 service fee to ride the ferry one way, is deducted from that rate charge, and what is the difference is what needs to be paid, and then it's divided by 2. 50% to City of Port Orchard and 50% to the City of Bremerton is who pays those. In the past, City of Bremerton finds it very beneficial for their downtown to have this ferry up and running. I will sure to find out in the next week or two when we have that meeting if they still believe the same for that. Kitsap Transit will be at that table as well, talking about how the fast ferry plays a role in 2020 services, if any. So once I know, I will share it with somebody, share it with the committee.
What are the Sunday dates that we start in?
So historically what we've done is we have, last couple years, it starts with Memorial Day weekend. There isn't any events on Saturday, so we don't hold any, we don't have any ridership counts on Saturday, and we don't do Saturday service anyways. So it's Sunday, that May 26th, and then that Monday Kitsap Transit picks up. So we don't have any services for that. And then we don't pick back up until the end of June when the Fathoms of Fun Parade. So we do one day in the end of May, and then we don't pick up back up until the end of June. And then we run all the way from the end of June to September,
Labor Day.
Labor Day. So it is about 16 service days.
Would it be safe to assume, don't want to assume anything, the ridership numbers, that we would cut that in half? Because if they took it one way, they might bring it back the other way. Unless someone takes over and gets picked up in the car and comes back. But just trying to be logical about the ridership.
Can we get copies of those?
Yes. I will email them all to you. Unless you want paper copies, then I will make sure I have paper copies for tomorrow.
I know we had talked about, I think a little bit, or it came up last year, you know, can we do select days or events as opposed to every Sunday? You know, once we start, and have we broached that with Kitsap Transit? You know, about turn off, turn on, or
We have in the past offered to switch days. A couple years ago, they picked up Memorial Day Monday and Labor Day Monday, and Labor Day Monday is basically one of our money makers. Those are the days that we help offset some of the cost. And we offered to see if we can pick up that Labor Day Monday if they would take 4th of July, and they declined. So I mean, we could always ask them if they could pick up a couple days or select days. You mean to have?
what I'm saying is let's I don't, you know, since I don't have the sheet in front of me, is just say, you know, our biggest 3 or 4 days are 4th of July, Memorial Day Sunday, and Labor Day Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Are those the only days that we would do? Which would obviously significantly cut the cost, but could also, depending on how you advertise, cut ridership, because you think about it as every Sunday there's ridership, you know, from end of the school year to Labor Day, or, you know, you're trying to advertise.
I know we're not deliberating, but it just doesn't seem
No.
like it's penciling out at all. The ridership's down. Not sure if we're providing a service to many who are using it. The service is there, they're just not using it. And if it's not contributing to on the hotel side, it's really hard to make a pencil.
And looking at the historic or the ridership count, there are a handful of rides that there's nobody there. There's nobody on it. Or there's one or three.
And I know we couldn't ask him to sporadic, because the labor costs is the same.
Well,
no matter if you know, fuel costs may come and go, but the labor costs can be the same. So.
And at this point, we're dealing with Kitsap Harbor Tours, not Kitsap Transit, right?
Correct. Kitsap Harbor Tours is the ones that does the service for us upon the approval of Kitsap Transit because it's their route. But I think they're indifferent as to when they run.
Who?
Kitsap Harbor Tours, because we're hiring them to provide a service and it's indifferent to them. So it'd just be more of if Kitsap Transit would be willing to not have consistent route, or City of Bremerton if they don't want to be, they want to have a consistent. I know that the chair of the Economic Development Committee has been pretty adamant that we need to maintain consistency to get the ridership. It's something that we're not making money off by doing this service. It's just providing a service to hopefully the tourists and the public, residents, commuters.
I'd really like to hear from see what the retailers are they seeing any? A lot of them close on Sundays anyway, don't they? So,
And I think it's been a while since that the chair had reached out to the merchants to see if they benefit from them. I know that she did that a few years ago, and it was pretty much 50-50, or maybe it was a little under. I don't know that one's done recently with new merchants.
I mean, any given Sunday, how many trips, I mean, how many hours are they running?
from 9.
So we're running 10 to 6, 9 to
That's
6.
8 hours at $200 a pop, that's $1,600 a day. On Sunday to run the ferry.
Yeah, so Sundays it's a little over $1,400 to run that ferry from, I believe it's 9 to 6.
It is a great service for our guests because they're like, oh, how do I get to Seattle without driving? Oh, you can just take the walk over to the foot ferry and then get on the big ferry and come back. But they don't come to our property because of the foot ferry, if that makes sense.
It's offering an additional
Right.
service, so, okay. That's something to think about for tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess the question to ask, is anyone bringing the ferry over from Seattle, then taking that over to stay at the hotel?
Yeah, we do see quite a few Mariners fans and Seahawks fans as well.
So that's a question to ask. For me, there's no benefit for me. But that's definitely your perspective, brings a new view in.
I think looking at the ridership data, if you had copies for people tomorrow, that'll give us a good idea.
Any other questions?
I think we had the hard ones.
Okay. See if the merchants were, and I asked the merchants to pitch in if they thought it was beneficial to them.
That's been asked in the past as well, and it's wasn't supported.
Right. If they don't support it, then.
All right, the Saints come marching in.
All right.
Where's Bill? Well, Bill bailed on me, so.
So you are it. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Bill decided to go camping the weekend. Mark's working, so it's like, well, can you do it? So we had our board meeting last night, and I asked around the board if anybody else wanted to come, and they said no. So I'm in. So actually, we're the Saints, and we have our big cruise car show down there. And the money we're asking for is this year's a little bit more than what we did last year. We're asking for $3,000 this year. Our advertising costs have gone up a bit, and actually, even in past years, we haven't covered. Our whole advertising costs are usually a lot more than what we ask for. Try to keep our ask to a minimum. But like I say, they have gone up, so we're asking for a little bit more this year. We put on the one car show. We do bring in people from all around the state. We just did our count from out of state things, and we've got half a dozen or more cars from British Columbia came down this year. We had same thing out of Oregon and California. We actually had a car come up from Arizona. We had one car come all the way from Virginia for the show this year. And
Should give it an award for the longest trip.
longest travel. But this year our car count was right under 500 because the weather didn't really cooperate this year. It started out a rainy day and it was slow. Usually by about 9 o'clock, the cars are already lined out way over here. 9 o'clock, and we're still filling up cars over there. But this all of a sudden the sun started breaking, and the cars started pouring in after that. So we were down on count. Like I say, we were down about under 500, just under 500. But it still ended up being a good show. We're able to give back to the community. So far, we did our allocations last night too. The board meeting, we're giving back about $8,000-9,000, to different charities around Port Orchard and stuff. And basically, we're just asking for the money to help cover our advertising costs and stuff. As far as tracking hotels, haven't come up with a good way to do that. We have tried asking people, especially the ones that come from out of state distances, are you staying in town or what? And they say, yeah, we're staying in town, but you don't really push them to, you don't want to get too nosy with them. So I do know the people that are staying in town, now whether they stay downtown or with Jack, I don't know where they're staying or the bed and breakfast is. But that's about it. Quick, easy. If you have any questions, I'll try and answer them. Bill's the answer man, but like I say,
You guys, by knowing where some of your out-of-state or just out-of-region entrants are, is a help. 'Cause I'm going to assume they're staying the night somewhere.
Yeah.
Quite a few people
Yeah.
over the years.
I mean, I do see every now and then the car trailers parked around town and stuff. And the guys that trailer that don't, drive them.
I think we have a mini show in our parking lot.
Yeah.
I have to be sure to turn off the sprinklers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. They
Good
don't
point.
like.
Yeah.
Don't like sprinklers.
I wouldn't have thought of that one.
Only takes once.
Any questions for Keith?
All right, I will check and see if anybody's here. Otherwise, we'll have another
Keith, what
mini
was,
break.
what's the date?
For this past one?
Yeah.
The 12th or something?
Yeah, 12th, I think, yeah, 'cause I think
12th.
we left for vacation.
Next year it's the 9th, I think. It's always the second Sunday of August.
Yeah, it says,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think, yeah. For some reason, 12th rings a bell. But
That was what I was thinking.
This year it was the 11th.
The 11th. Okay. I was off by one day.
Any other questions? Take another break. A recorded meeting and open to the public, and you'll have 15 minutes, including questions. So with that, go ahead and have you start.
Okay, so it's my first time doing the city, so I will assume it's sort of like the county where I just sort of give you a brief description of what we're trying to ask for money for. Is that how it kind of goes down? Yeah? Okay, so as you know, Fathoms of Fun is a festival that I call bringing fun to the community. We are an organization that has several events that bring people downtown, and thousands of people downtown, not only for our parade, but for our fireworks. Everything is basically in the downtown region except for the Easter egg hunt and the Hot Foot Run, but those are actually in the Kitsap Regional Park, so we keep everything local within Port Orchard. We feel that with all the events and activities that we do, we're able to fill hotel rooms. We invite people to visit the restaurants and shop at the different stores and even the grocery stores, and even have to get gas, etc. So we feel like there's a lot of economic benefits to having us here in the city doing what we do. As you know, we have a several events that introduce Port Orchard to the rest of the county as well as the state. Because we have our festival float that travels around the state of Washington, and it's seen throughout different counties as well as even on TV, award-winning. We have our parade that brings in thousands of people from everywhere, and they stay in our hotels and eat our foods and do all of those sort of things. And then of course we have our fireworks show that is not just seen on this side of the water, but of course is seen in Bremerton and even in some of the areas within Gorst. With that, we always try to collect zip codes and different other kinds of resources so that we are able to try to track to the best of our knowledge who is coming in which areas. We know that through our Seagull Splat Run, for instance, through registration, people come from all over the county to participate in the Seagull Splat Run. And through the tracking that our court does at the fireworks show and at Festival by the Bay, we're able to track that people come from all over the United States and world even sometimes, because it depends on what they're doing in this area. They come to participate and be a part of our concerts. The reason why we are talking to you today and seeking your help is because the majority of the LTAC money that we ask from you goes for marketing on the most part. And as you know, we do the marketing through Discover magazine, and we have a budget that was in the packet that explains how that whole breakout happened. We also have just basic general operations that goes into the organization to keep it running. We have building materials that we need for our float so that we're able to keep it fresh and updated, because as you know, things get worn out throughout a year's time. We do recycle as much as we can, but we do need to get purchased new. We also have musicians that come in for our Festival by the Bay, which is a free concert for everyone every Thursdays during the summer months. And so we seek money to help supply them. And then of course we have the barge cost that happens for our 4th of July fireworks. So to make it be that we can have more money for shells, we ask that the city please help and maybe help cover some of the costs of the barge. And then one of our new items is we had to purchase a new truck for our float to take the trailer everywhere, and it needs new tires. And so we're seeking money so that we're able to purchase new tires for our truck. So that's kind of our general request in a nutshell. So I'm open for you guys to quiz me away.
How many events do you do?
How many events throughout the year?
Yeah.
Well, if you're just going to count the things that we do for the city, we start in...
Well, no, in general, because, you know, like you say, you're out at different places advertising for Port Orchard also.
Yeah, so if you're going to include the appearances that the court make, which is advertising for them,
Yep.
just to give you an idea, the court puts in about 400 hours accumulative each year. Actually, I lied to you, that's per person. So that would be times 7, so that's how many hours that the girls put out, that they literally go all over the county as well as within our South Kitsap region. And then our state, because we do about 16 parades a year.
Okay.
And so we are very active in keeping Port Orchard alive and well known throughout the whole entire state.
I'm trying to remember where Discover Port Orchard, or Discover Kitsap goes to exactly. I'm making an observation that there's other out-of-area ones that are advertising in Discover Kitsap, like the Whidbey Island and the Pig Fest.
Well, it goes on to the ferries. I know that
Yeah.
it goes on to the ferries and all the different hotel rooms. It's one of the widest ranges of advertising that we can do, so that we're able to get our message out there that there is a festival in Port Orchard. Come join us. We have lots of fun. And in doing so, they also realize there's lots of other things coming. So it really benefits not just Fathoms of Fun, but it benefits even the chamber, it benefits the city because it advertises their events. And so it's a really good publication, and other sources that we use in order, like with the Port Orchard Independent, we do a lot of digital advertising through them, as well as hard media, paper advertising. So we have all of those kind of things that we do. I guess I and go to
We
that
give out a lot
page.
of the Discover Kids.
We get them too, but once they're in the hotel, then they're already in the hotel. I think something like that would be great in a Discover Whitby, or Discover Mason, or Discover Pierce. They have such a good.
So you guys bought a new truck last year, right?
We did.
Okay.
And so this year it needs new tires.
There's this last sentence here that says the truck is too prohibitive cost-wise to replace the engine in it.
That was for the truck that we got rid of, and so the new truck does not need the engine
Okay.
replaced. We got rid of the truck that needed the engine replaced, and this is the new truck that we have now.
That came up
Yes.
last year.
Yeah,
Came up
The
with
truck,
right,
yeah.
yeah.
But Matt wasn't here last year.
Yeah.
It's on the other side of the coin. Other questions?
I'll present a question to Jan. 4th of July. Does you get a lot of people for their festival? Come to stay the night?
The only time we did not sell out was when the recession really hit.
Okay.
That was the only time.
So you get quite a few people come out, and then they probably bring their chairs out on
Oh, quite
the
a
front.
few.
It's a big party. It's huge. It's all along the waterfront, and they come to your hotel specifically so that they're able to enjoy the firework view, and they have a big party there. And we used to do our party there, and the only reason we can't now is because of how they redid the walkway. It just doesn't really work like it does anymore. So we had to move it to a different location, which is still right there. It's at the Seraptimus Overlook. That's where we do our party now. But it's really a neat event, I think.
Closing comments?
Closing comments. Well, I do appreciate everything. The city has always been here to support us 100%, especially for when we're asking you for additional requests for new festivals that we come up with. Everything we do, we think of what we can do to help Port Orchard. That's what Fathoms of Fun is all about. That's why you see the royalty everywhere. That's why you see us everywhere trying to come up with different events. And we are just trying to bring fun to Port Orchard. And so we appreciate all your willingness to help and support us and to help with last minute accommodations. And so anything that we can ever do to make things easier, we always love feedback, so we know. But Lena, do you have something to say?
No, well, I think that Fathoms and the scholarship program is an integral part of KidSAP, and without it, there would be no events. As far as outdoor events, there's some, as far as in our South KidSAP region, but they also play an integral role in the young people's lives here in KidSAP County. We're a sponsor of the pageant. I'm a volunteer and I serve on the board, and I watch these young children come in very shy, timid, and they leave as adults and able to command a room and speak in front of people, 200 people. I mean, it's an amazing process that they go through, but it's not without the people who are involved with Fathoms and the board and all the volunteers, and purely volunteer. We have no.
I was just going to ask that, 'cause as I recall, there's
100% volunteer. There
staff.
is no money. In fact, we're not even allowed to make money. That's on the bylaws. So we all do it out of the pure love of Port Orchard. That's really the honest
Yeah.
truth. And I do work this job as much as I do my own job. That actually gives me money.
So do you know about the port and the county requests yet?
Do I know how much they've given us?
Did they make any awards?
The county did.
The county
County did.
did. The county did make awards?
Well,
I haven't
just
heard.
needed the approval of the.
I haven't heard how
commissioners.
much that we got awarded from the county. I just know what we got awarded from the
What was
board.
your ask from the county? I forgot.
12 it says here.
It's 12. I think it's
They
$12,000.
probably got pretty close to that.
So what do you get from the port?
The port, they gave us 6 for fireworks specifically.
Yeah.
And so, and as you know, it costs like $30,000-$40,000 to put on a good show, and we've been able to do it with a really slim budget. The more that we can have, the better that our show can be, where people are more happy. I'll tell you one thing, when we are out there doing what we do, people don't have a clear understanding to how the fireworks come about, how any of our events come about. They believe either the city or the chamber's involved. They don't think it's a small organization that's privately done by a bunch of volunteers of only about 12 on the on the board. We are a small group of people trying to bring big boom to Port Orchard. And so people just don't have a clear understanding. So any monies we do ask is like we're just begging so that we can continue to do the things that we're doing. We're trying to be as frugal as possible, but honestly, it takes money to run things, as you all well know. And that's the only reason we seek what we seek, is just nothing comes from free.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I don't know, have you guys seen this? Do anybody want a copy of this to have? I don't know if I'm even supposed to do that. I probably just did a illegal thing, but telling Jens is always illegal.
You can provide pamphlets to the board or the committee.
Okay,
Absolutely.
there's just a couple here, and this is just a major use of what we've been using for advertisement. It has the logos for the county and everybody on it, and so it gives a good thing for the people to see so they can know what we have for our concert schedules and events coming up and so forth. And so it's just a simple piece of media, and it's colorful. That's what Helene is, colorful.
Just missing the hotel information.
Huh?
Just missing the hotel information.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring out, and so that's really good. So that's something that I'm going to make a note of, and we can bring that out as well. As I go, we're always a growing process. We're looking for feedback. That's exactly why we talk to you, because every time we talk to someone, we learn, oh, we didn't do this. We'll do that next time. So that's a good point. We'll bring that out. So
I know they include it on the website.
yes, we do.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. But that's a pamphlet specifically trying to show people what Fathoms of Fun gives them. But we could probably add something about, we want a place to stay.
And this is pretty this particular piece, I think, is locally delivered.
It is. It's just,
we don't
we
mail
just,
it.
yeah, we don't mail it out. It's just you have copies of it in the chamber, and we might take it to some other local businesses like the Pancake House or, different places like that we know that will distribute it. So, all right.
Time is up.
Time is up.
That's good.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll take this glittery thing away.
Oops, sorry. Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, bye.
So we're just waiting for our next applicant.
This is the Kitsap Mustang Club.
Yes.
When you were at the port, did you stick around after you gave your presentation?
No, I had to go up to Anacortes that day. I remember. How'd the rest of it go?
Yeah. So it's really interesting because the guy from Broomtown was asking
They're
me-
just gathering their things and they're gonna head
Bridgewater.
on in here in just a minute.
started talking lodging numbers. All hotels are really full, but I already know they're going to be full anyway, regardless of it's class or not, because it's that time of year. And he straight out said, he goes, and the Days Inn told us they had 25% of the rooms for the class. And I let him say a thing, and I want to go to him, I go, where did you get that information? He goes, I didn't provide that to you. And I'm the only one who would provide that information.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So just a reminder, this is a public recorded meeting, so you are being recorded.
Okay.
And you will have 15 minutes, and that includes question and answer time. So,
Hi.
so whenever you are ready.
Well, I'm Susan Stadsog, and I'm the show chair for Kitsap Mustang Club and the Mustangs on the Waterfront car show we have.
I'm Len McCready. I'm president of Mustang Club.
So we talk for 15 minutes first, and then there's a question and answer. Remind me what you just
It's
said. I'm
total.
Talk
sorry.
about 10 minutes and then 5
10
for
minutes?
question and
Okay.
answering. Yeah.
Well, first of all, for those who were on the lodging committee, attendee last year, we want to thank you for your donation to us and the contribution, because it allowed us to do a lot more advertising for the show, and plus we also had requested some operating costs as well. So I wanted to thank you first for that. You've probably seen some of our information in the past. We issue out the save the date cards, so there's cost to that and postage, and we go back we don't go back just to the last year's attendees, because we have found that sometimes people can't go year after year, so we go back 3 to 5 years to get more of the audience for the show. And our show is strictly just Mustangs, but we do have the largest gathering of Mustangs only in Washington State, which is pretty cool. So maybe go further than that. We haven't investigated that further. But so Port Orchard is on the map for all of our Mustang people. So we do a little program that we give out to everybody that lists a lot of information about the show. We have every year we have a design that we use on all of the printed paperwork that we send out. So a few things extra we got to do this year is we advertised with Discover Kitsap, and so we hadn't been able to do that before, so I did. So we put an ad in there. So I'm going to pass that around, or I'm going the wrong direction.
No, it's fine.
Sorry.
No, send it
So,
out.
This way.
and then we did this the second year in a row. We were in Cruisin' magazine. So, but then some people said, why don't we do a bigger ad? So, well, maybe we'll try that next year. But along with what they explained about the Discover Kitsap, is on all the ferries, I guess, and they publish about 40,000 copies that they distribute around. And Cruising magazine goes out to all of the Northwest. We've had people in Oregon and Idaho and neighboring states see our ads in here. And so that one was done on this. And then we did some extra advertising as well with the Kitsap Sun. And not only the paper in the paper, but also on their website. But that was with Sound Publishing, so I misspoke. So that's the local, the Port Orchard Independent, the CK Reporter, and Bremerton Patriot. I believe they've combined. And then the North Kitsap Herald. So we're constantly looking for ways to advertise more. We did get, I got good feedback from the hotels, because the local hotels we contact, mainly we use Comfort Inn and Days Inn, and those are printed on our flyers, which I'm sure I have one buried in here, but I do advertise the club advertises the local hotels, and we ask them, are the people that come to identify themselves as Mustang show participants, so they will know that we're bringing some folks in from out of town. And each of them reported that they had approximately 20 rooms reserved for our participants, which was more than the year before. So that was positive. Could I talk? This is like tabletop.
Did you get a look at this one, Jay?
No, that one I didn't. Thank you.
So, let's see. So we're getting Port Orchard out there. We get people, we have people come from Canada, Oregon, Idaho, all over. We did have 288 Mustangs this year, which is not 287. I think it was one less than our record of 288, something like that. But we're striving for 300. Now, if we opened it up to all types of cars, we could easily surpass the other car shows in the area, not to mention any. That's what they're telling me. They want, their club wants to have like a, they want to, well, not the club, but a couple people have said, why don't we just let Fords in, right?
Yeah, really.
So, I'm not, I love this, I love the cruise. I'm just teasing you, but, we do, our trophies, if you haven't seen any, and I should have brought one to show you, but we take a picture of every car that comes in the show, which is pretty unique, and that's kind of our club's trademark. And we've been doing that for, well, this was our 31st show. So those early years, there was a local, actually film developer in Port Orchard that would develop the film for us. They'd open special on Sundays for us. And then they, I believe, went out of business, or, film kind of has gone away. But then we would drive to Costco and do their 1 hour one. And then now we have Walgreens and Rite Aid and Walmart here. So that's really beneficial. But anyway, we for the winners, recipients of the trophies, we put their car picture on it that day. And then we also give them a calendar of events for the year. And I should have brought that too. That's pretty cool. One of our members makes a calendar for the year, and it's a photo folder, and one side's the calendar by month, and then we slip their picture in there too. So even if they don't get a trophy, they get the calendar. And so that's quite fun. People like that almost as much as getting a trophy. We've had people like have to leave the show early, and if they've come before, they know they may miss out on their calendar, so they will give them one and then mail in their picture. But so I think we're getting Port Orchard on the map pretty good for all the things that we do, and it's one of their favorite. We get that comment, I think, more than anything. The location is a very popular location. So now if we got all those cars to come back, but everybody doesn't keep their cars forever like we do. But if we had all those cars, I think we have a couple thousand in our database that have attended over the last 30 years or so. But a lot of people are lifers that keep their cars forever. But I guess I should have got my timer out to see how far I am into the 10 minutes. So
Only spoken for about a minute.
I won't. Oh no, really?
You got 5 now.
I have 5 more minutes.
You don't-
Really? I've
you don't
talked for
have to
5
see them.
minutes.
You can do
What?
a Q&A.
We can do the Q&A. Pardon me?
Benefit of maintenance.
Oh, the benefit of the maintenance, because we did not only advertising, but we put in for operations as well. So that helped us with improving our sound system, and we took some cues from that other club. So we our sound guys elevated we got a lift, which Premier Rentals was generous in donating for trophy sponsorships, and we lifted the speakers up. So that was a huge benefit, because they have been for years streaming, well, not streaming, but laying wire out all the way down the waterfront. So people that were closest to those parking spots were totally blasted out, and there's going to be more improvements to that to come, because it seemed like the way the wind blew, the sound blew. So I don't know. We'll get you some more tips from that other car show too. But anyway, but that was a huge improvement for our guests, and so we hear compliments, because we go to a lot of Mustang shows, so we hear a lot of compliments when we say we're from Kitsap, and that they say the Port Orchard show, that's our favorite show. We hear that a lot. So, and then we were able to help with it was able to help us with the portable restrooms too. As you know, they're limited in restroom facilities down there, so that's a big benefit too. Any way we can keep our guests more comfortable throughout the day, then they'll be more apt to come back and spread the word to increase our attendance.
Questions?
No?
Should have had coffee.
Should have had coffee.
After we took our break.
All right.
Would it be okay if you all introduced yourselves? I recognize a few faces, but,
I'm Jay Rose Pepe, I'm a council member and I'm the facilitator.
oh, okay.
I'm Brad Pitt.
Yeah, I recognized you right off.
I'm Matt from the Chamber of Commerce.
Keith watches from that other car club.
I know. I love that car club.
Shirts
Fun.
and dead giveaway.
Yeah.
No, we should have worn our
We can
our stuff.
incognito.
Yeah.
So Jack Edwards stays in.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Chan Park from the comfort.
Nice to meet you.
And Brandy Renderson, city clerk, city staff.
You have
Can we
2
ask-
minutes.
2 minutes? Can I
Yeah.
ask some questions
Sure.
too? I just want to ask, I mean, is there some other things that we as a club could be doing to promote like the local lodging facilities? I know before we have like reserved like blocks of room. I think I've spoken with you on the phone, Jack, possibly. But and then Comfort Inn, I've talked with the lady there, Terry, I believe. And
We always like our logos on printed materials.
for the hotels. Oh, okay.
Usually they're included in websites most of
Okay.
the time. But yeah, we
Okay.
recommend any material sent out where you're trying to attract people in.
Okay. I did not mention the website, but we do have links. I believe Ann, our webmaster, puts links on our website to the hotels. Yeah. So,
And I forgot to mention too, we always like them on registration packets. Or you give a accommodations list when you send out registration packets.
oh, okay.
Unless they're doing it online nowadays, but.
Well, we do mainly, we don't send out pre-registration packets ahead of time. We'll send out the flyer.
Okay.
And the hotel and the phone number and address is listed on there. And, and then also we refer them to the website because they can go there and download a pre-registration form. And that's where the links are to the hotels. So, and we can keep you on there all year long too, like as a thank you, as a sponsor. And I'll make sure that, because we do list our, like, the businesses that, and different places that donate for a raffle are on there year round, so we can do that as well.
And our time is up?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, you're welcome, and thank
you very much.
you.
Just a reminder that this is a public meeting, so you guys are being recorded. And you guys have 15 minutes to present your presentation to the committee. And that does include question and answering time.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
Okay.
So about
Alright.
10 minutes to do your spiel
To
and
do our
then 5 minutes for
spiel.
questions.
All right, so first of all, everybody's has a copy of our proposal.
Correct.
Sorry. Okay, all right. So just as we did in past years.
And I should clarify, Kathleen, that I do have a 15-minute block for your tourism marketing and then a 15-minute block for your Portraiture Downtown
Oh, you
events.
do?
Yeah, so
Oh.
you don't have to
you
cram it
want to-
all in.
So if you want to focus
Okay, I
on
didn't realize
one
that.
first
Nice.
and then move over to the other one. And it doesn't matter which one, just let the committee know which one you want to focus on first.
Okay,
Okay.
terrific. Well, everybody, I am Kathleen Wilson. I'm the president of the Bay Street Association, manager at the library. And Chris Stansbury, who you haven't seen before at all today, is our treasurer. And Sue Ann Martin Smith is our secretary. And Dave Jeffcoat is on our board of directors. So, thank you for having us here today. So we did divide our application up into the two sections. We've done this for the past few years, and it helps us to sort of track more clearly where the money is being spent. And I think it's helpful to you as we're doing the applications too, to break this out. So I think I'll start with the 5-page application. And this is the money for the tourism marketing specifically. There's a tourism marketing component in the 8-page application, but this is just straight tourism marketing. So we have with our tourism marketing, we are marketing outside of we market in the area, but we also market outside of Port Orchard, outside of Kitsap, you know, the 50-mile radius, 75-mile radius. We try to get out further. We've done some marketing in Olympia, some in, we've marketed it a little bit more in the south. So heading that way, we market out in Mason County. But what we're really, the reach that we're, probably the broadest reach is with our social media marketing. So our website and our Facebook marketing that we do. We advertise in out of the area publications like the Country Register, the Art Access Antique Shopping, On Experience Washington and Destination Washington, so statewide tourism websites. And then we do our email marketing, and this is pretty big for us. We use MailChimp, and we have collected a huge database of emails from people that have been to our previous events over the years. So we have our slogan, Spend Your Day on the Bay, and we use that in all of our kind of out of area and generalized marketing. And we advertise in, so we advertise in like the vintage directory. Here's one that we did, Spend Your Day on the Bay. This is our more generic advertising, Spend Your Day on the Bay. I have actually little copies. I have 5 of these, I think. This is just printed copies of these 2 ads that we've been using. Spend Your Day on the Bay. So this is kind of out of area. Here's another one.
That's one of the chamber.
This is the chamber ad that we did. And then we have a big portion of this tourism money goes towards the map. So we've got this is our 2019 version of the map. It has all of our events on the back, and then it has all of our, has some member advertising, and then it has all of our members inside with all of our events for the year listed again. So everybody's probably seen that, but there's a copy for you. So we really think that by marketing, you know, outside of the area. Oh, there's an ad for the night markets too, right there. Yeah, I guess that's a little bit more event oriented. Yeah.
That's more event.
We are bringing in people from outside of the area to come to downtown. We feel now, with downtown being fuller, many more businesses opened up. There's actually, you know, we can feel good about and confident about marketing our city, drawing people in from out of area. We heard a lot of good comments. A lot of the impact that we've heard from our store owners, you know, especially when we're marketing to bring in not just for generally, but for event oriented. By advertising those events and bringing people in, it's positively impacting our local businesses. They're increasing their business. You guys want to add anything about, I can pull up our website here. I don't know, all of you have probably seen it.
All I know as a business owner, it's really worked out well for my cafe. I own the Homemade Cafe. Any kind of opportunity to bring things to our town only does, speaking for myself, my small business, a great opportunity to grow. So I think it's worked out really well that way as a business owner.
So the tourism marketing portion is pretty straightforward. I mean, we're using it for the map, we're using it for the website, we're using it for our general ads that we're running, you know, through social media and also in out-of-area publications. And we broke that down. There's a budget on the back page of the application. I don't know if anybody has any questions about that portion of the application.
So does the map support itself financially?
No, it about half.
Yeah, we do sell some advertisements.
We offer some sponsorships.
And we have a sponsorship with Explore Port Orchard. Was a sponsor this year for that map.
So I do like on the map, you do have the accommodations set aside I do like the fact that you're actually advertising outside of our region. The only thing I may add, it's really hard looking at your ads because your ads are very clean. They're very clean and crisp, but as the hotel people, as you're trying to attract lodging people, we always like to see the links or little logos to the hotels on those as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's something that we hadn't.
But at the same time, like I said, I know this is really simple and clean. So hate to take it away from the teams.
Have you been tracking hits on your
Yes,
website?
we have, yes.
And has there been an increase on that?
Especially with our social media.
Right, that's what I
Yeah,
was wondering.
yeah. So with our website, we have tracked our users on our website. And then with our social media, this year to date, we've reached 129,000 people, 84,000 just in the last 90 days. So we have a lot of that engagement is more around our events though. So when we're promoting events, that's when we get like really big hits for our social media. So Ladies Night Out is the biggest for us, but then a really growing event for us is that night market. So we've had 4 of those this year, and we'll have 5. We're planning 5 for next year.
Wow.
Yeah, events are.
That's very nice.
Yeah, right. So we'll talk about that, but just for our website, a lot of our users are during the summer months. That's when we get the most hits on our website, for sure. And I think that's probably, definitely when most people are thinking about coming to the area with the boating. We do more focused marketing kind of in the summer months, but this year we did do more advertising in just general publications during the winter. We've hired a graphic designer to do 4 seasonal generic Spend Your Day on the Bay ads. So when we're not having an event to promote, we're running those constantly. And last 2 years ago, we did a huge website reset. And so this year, we've been pretty happy with how it's worked out for us. I can just pass this around. We promote our members on the website and all of our events and local lodging. So some of this tourism money would go towards maintaining our website.
Other questions?
One thing we did do was, because it's lodging tax that helps pay for the walking map, we made the decision internally to put all the hotels and bed and breakfast and everything on there, whether they were members or not. That just seemed fair.
I think that was a request from last year. We talked about.
So we made sure that happened.
And the analytics.
And this is a piece that we included in our Explore Port Orchard mailer, too.
The map.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big chunk of the tourism marketing. So I think that's that section. So yeah, on the back is kind of, we broke it down with how exactly we're spending it. Print marketing is still really expensive. But we did have, from that vintage publication that we did that kind of promoted our Spend Your Day on the Bay, we had, and it's hard to capture statistics, like I can't tell you how many people were in town because they saw that ad, but that publication is in every antique and vintage store all over Washington, Oregon, and I talked personally to 3 or 4 people that came because they saw that ad. One person even was a vendor because they found out about it through that publication. So that's been a pretty effective piece of marketing for us, even though it's pretty expensive.
Where's Coffeyville?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's kind of
82
random.
82
Yeah.
requests from Coffeyville.
Coffeyville.
I don't know if the people from New York are making it over for the weekend, but you never know.
You don't know. All right, so
Are you guys ready for them to move on to the Port Orchard downtown events portion of their presentation?
Let's roll.
okay. So this is kind of our event targeted marketing, some of our more popular events. These two are upcoming, so please take this, especially this is our Boo Bash schedule on the back. Jay will want that.
I will.
He helps with the crossing guards for the Boo Bash, or is the leader of the crossing guards for Boo Bash. Yes, so we're asking for a really decent amount of funding for these events because we have so many of them and they are a huge draw to our area, to our downtown. And we need the money to help promote them and help hold them. Just last week, just Saturday, we had our last night market of the year. It was the smallest night market I would say that we've had. But just in talking to some of the people that were working that night in their stores and restaurants, one of the restaurant bartenders told me that on the night market nights, they do 4 times the business of a normal Saturday night in the summertime. So that was, yeah, good. How did you feel? Well, you're not open
No,
on
I'm
the
not
night.
open
Yeah, so, yeah, you have your Saturday morning and Sunday morning breakfast crowd. Yeah,
We're
so.
pretty busy, so.
I mean, it's, that's been something new that we're going to continue next year. Next year, we're hoping to also have another event during the slow time, a sip and shop. Gig Harbor does a sip and stroll. These are super popular to, utilize local wineries, pair them with businesses, and entice people to come downtown, enjoy the shops, stroll around, have a little glass of wine, maybe buy some wine from the local vineyards. So we're looking at implementing that event. That's kind of the first. So in the attachment here on page 5, it kind of talks about what we've got for coming up for our events for next year that we're hoping to use this money for. That's our Leap into Spring Sip and Shop. That's our first event. And then we'll have our Ladies Night Out. We do 2 Ladies Night Out events a year. Bring in lots and lots of ladies and gentlemen downtown. This time, we had a first time event last year, which was our May Day basket event. And this year, the first Friday in May falls off. The first Friday is May 1st, so that's May Day. So we're going to kind of combine those 2 events this year. Try to see how successful we are with that. But we partner with local groups. We partner with South Kitsap Fire and Rescue. We partner with the Fathoms. We try to partner as much as we can on every event because that just makes it better for everybody involved. So then we'll go right to our night markets, which are going to be on the 4th Saturday. And we're actually looking not at starting in June. We're looking at starting in May with those. And then Taste of Port Orchard is a huge event for us. The Artisan and Vintage Fair is actually with the Chris Craft Rendezvous. So we've tried to capitalize on events that are already happening too, without taking away from events that are well known. So the Seagull Calling Contest, we're not running an event with that, but like with the Fathoms of Fun Parade and Festival, the Cruise. These are festivals that are also really big draws. So what we do is we look at times when there isn't as much going on and what can we do, the shoulder seasons. We have these night markets happening in the evening when it's not traditionally as busy. And then, partnering with events like the Chris Craft Rendezvous. Because that was something a couple years ago that was specifically asked for when the Chris Craft boaters were looking at going to a different marina and there wasn't much happening in Port Orchard that weekend. So trying to entice them to stay because that's a really important marquee event for us in the summertime. Probably one of the best events for our merchants for sure.
think we saved that event.
I think so.
Yeah, I think we did too. I mean, they were gonna leave. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was really negative the year prior to that, when they were just feeling like they weren't getting
Yeah.
the city. And we acted on that,
The other vendors
I
are-
think, and Jeff got in. And
The red
I'd say they were
vendors.
really happy that next year. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, we've really tried to be responsive to needs in the community. So like with that, you know, how can we keep this marquee event here? And like with the Bay Street Blue Bash, that was always Halloween night trick-or-treating with the merchants. And it was always hard for all the merchants because, you know, some of them it would always be on a weeknight during rush hour. 90% of the time the weather is terrible. So it was actually pretty dangerous to have all these kids crossing the street. The merchants were trying to do their normal course of business or even be closed. So it wasn't as successful for our community as it could have been. So looking at how we could make this a bigger event, grow the event, but also have it be an event that everybody can feel really positive about. So looking at, okay, let's make it during the day, the last Saturday in October. And the response has been phenomenal. That event, we're going to go into our third year. It's just grown. We've got support now with all of our downtown merchants. We have the dance gallery. They're going to be doing a performance. We have, we work with the Washington Youth Academy to help with the crossing guards, and Jay helps with that. So it's that's been super fun to see that event grow. And just in talking with people coming from out of town for that, that's something that parents are looking for, things to do Halloween oriented with the kids. So I think we promote that through Macaroni Kids, which is has a statewide reach. So we're drawing from the out of the area for that event for sure. And then this year we're starting something new. We're going to be doing a holiday on the Bay promotion, promoting all of our holiday events for all of our downtown, November, December, and January. So we're still coordinating this. So this is just the blank for it, but this is something that we'll be putting out, promoting in all of our marketing materials for the holiday season. And it's made a big difference for us, I think, to have hired a graphic designer to coordinate our look. It's been helpful to us when we're marketing the events, for sure.
Who is that?
Sandy Lloyd, Clever Cousin Designs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's local.
Mhm.
Right. No, I know who she is.
Yeah, she's done a really good job for us. So the budget for this is on the back page, and here are the just so you can see the reach through social media for our events. Oh, and this is like an art access. So we do run our ads for our events in publications, out of area publications too. We haven't been doing the banners as much this year as we have in previous years, since the banner doesn't go across the street anymore. But we have had feedback from our community that they still really like that banner being up on the fence. So we'll probably go back to, I don't know, whatever iteration the banner has next year. We'll be trying to figure out how we can get those banners up again.
Questions?
Is there overlap? I mean, 1,800, so it looks like you guys spend a total of $1,800 a year in the county register.
Mm-hmm.
It's $215 every 2 months. And then every once in a while, we'll do an extra ad, like with the artisan and vintage, we'll do the regular sort of generic, and then we'll add artisan and vintage, because that's directed at that audience.
Okay.
So we have our regular tourism promotion for it at 1,000, and then event oriented at 800.
Overlap with
With the country register.
Yeah, are you thinking?
Well, I'm just wondering, because it's like Kathleen just said, you got $1,000 here and $800 there. I was just wondering if you spend $1,800 a year, or is some of this 800 included in this 1,000?
I broke it up, so 800 is event related and the other
Right,
is.
so there's no overlap.
There's no overlap there. And the same with the MailChimp, I broke that out so that if we're doing event specific or if we're doing generic.
That makes it easier for us too, to try to track it that way.
Other questions? Last comments?
I feel like we had a really successful summer.
And busy.
Summer, yeah. We've heard really good feedback from our merchants and just in general. I mean, I know the night markets brought down a lot of people that hadn't been downtown for years, but honestly, every week there are people that say that to me at the library. Like, I haven't been down here. I didn't even know there was a library down here. I've lived here. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's.
And I also think it's really nice. My cafe is more of a destination cafe now. We've been open 7 years. So I have people coming from all over Kitsap County, Olympia, Seattle even. It's crazy. And it's lovely to have these things, all the maps, the events. I support all of this in my restaurant. And it's great when people go, what do you do in this town? What is there to do? Oh my gosh, let me tell you. And not only does it make us look like we're on top of everything, I mean, we're very modern. You know, we're a town where people want to come. And I mean, we have this beautiful water to look at, everything, and we have restaurants and events and activities. And I think it just kind of supports the whole idea of community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's valuable, and I think it's something we shouldn't lose.
I kind of tap on it too, is that at the bank, sometimes I feel like we're a community information center. Because people will come, especially the voters, will come through, walk through the bank, and you can tell when they're coming, they're going to ask for information. And it's good for us to see those out of towners. As Kitsap Bank, we're a bank, we're a locally owned bank, so we're here in this region, but they're coming to the town not for the bank, but for the businesses. But there's just a ton of activity with that. And it just seems like it's growing every year as far as the people coming in from out of town. Where do we go? What's there to do? And it's like, I think maybe maybe people just know, the bankers are here, they're living here, so come and ask them because they'll know. And we use that map all the time at the bank. And our staff just love getting that map out and, showing people and telling people about the different things in town. So it seems like increasing.
Yeah, we've seen a big increase at the library too. Yeah, we've always had tourists coming in, and we're kind of over the Cedar Cove. We still get Debbie Maycomer tourists, but now it's just more, I think they just word of mouth and seeing the advertisements, and the word is getting out about Port Orchard, I feel. And we really appreciate partnering with the city too. I mean, the city's been really supportive for the Bay Street Association. So we couldn't do it without the support of the city as well.
Talking about partnering, how much do you partner with Visit Kitsap? I see they have
So Visit Kitsap really helped us with the sponsorship of the night markets this year. That's in our sponsorship, and we're anticipating that same support next year. They have a specific budget for night marketing, evening events. They also helped sponsor the Artisan and Vintage Fair.
And Taste of Port Orchard.
And Taste of Port Orchard, yeah. So they really increased their.
That was a form of monetary.
Mm-hmm.
And the Taste of Orchard, we have like over 3,000 people, and it's only 4 hours long.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people that come down for just a small amount of time, but it's busy.
Mm-hmm.
And besides the monetary, finish answering the question, they also do a lot of social media and a lot of other type of advertising like that for any of those events that they're sponsoring.
Yeah, and our merchant members have been really doing really well with promoting events too with the social media. I think we're being a lot better about getting them the graphics to use to promote, and so then they're posting and reposting and having, pushing things too. So a lot of that has also just generated more interest.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.